Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 86 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. So, yay for day 86. I am being lazy or creative or whatever words you want to use today. I, I really, uh, I had my writing group tonight, which was really nice. We did a Zoom meeting instead of in person, which is I like the in person one better, but the Zoom meeting was fine. And as a secretary, I got to do a lot of typing tonight. I got to redo the list because every year people pay their dues or don't pay their dues. So we have some new people that joined that weren't there last year, and some people from last year that decided they're not coming back this year, which is kind of sad because really like some of their stories and want to know what happens in their books. So anyway, I got to do an updated list for my writing group, and then of course the president was so nice, and she was like, we went around and kind of did goals. We did goals in December, like what people wanted to do for the new year, but we didn't like write them down or record them. It was just kind of a verbal something. But our new chapter president decided this year that we should, at least for this month, to try to help keep people on track with what we're doing. Because I mean, we all go and we all share what we're working on if we're working on something. If we're not working on something, we don't have to share. It's okay. And I've worked on some things, so I probably could have shared something tonight. I didn't because I don't know how to. I don't know how to do it. That's not what I mean entirely. It's just in doing Zoom, it's the I can either show the video so people can see my face while I'm talking, or I think it takes me off. I don't know, maybe they can still see my face, but I can't see their faces when I'm reading like one of my Word documents. I don't know how to like do both screens at the same time. I know there's a way to do it, but and I kind of did it a couple of times when I was taking notes, and it would just show whoever was talking. So it was like one person at a time. But I did it by accident, so I don't know how to repeat it. And then I undid it, and then I ended up trying to redo it and messed it up. And then I did it by accident again a second time, and I'm like, I still have no idea how I did that. So I was just kind of like, I was feeling very distracted tonight in my meeting because I was busy trying to type notes and trying to get information for the new people to update our list, as to who's doing what and all of those things. So it was interesting. And so I typed up notes, and then of course our chapter president wanted everybody to do goals. And not everybody chose to share a goal. They don't have to. It was kind of an optional thing, but kind of where they're working and what they're working. And someone in the group said, well, I want to just get back to working on my writing. And someone else was like, okay, that's way too vague. You need to be way more specific as to what you want. So they kind of like narrowed it down, not bullied her, but kind of talked her into like, okay, what this or this or this, what's your idea? So we took some notes and some suggestions, and then I emailed them out to everybody. So I'm counting that for my writing tonight because it was like an hour and a half, 2 hour meeting that I was in, just getting to know everybody, typing up all of the notes, and then like listening to other people share and giving feedback on other people's writing. So even though more of it was kind of verbal and listening, I still felt like that counts for my writing for tonight. I need to do better and try to write before I go to work instead of the end of the night. I know that works better for me. And it has on the days that I've done it. I just don't do it consistently. Anyway, so that was what that was. And then I did list a goal for myself that I would like to have at least one book published, probably my Lanoia book, by my birthday, which is in May. So that's still like 4 or 5 months away. And I'm hoping I can figure out how to get a book published in the next 5 months. That would be awesome. And then I did set the goal also to finish Recognizing God's Hand in My Life, at least the first draft, or maybe second, because I already kind of wrote it the first time. But my revised version I would like to finish by our meeting in February, which is the second Wednesday in February. So my goal is to try to do that. So I was trying to be a little bit more specific, as was suggested, for my goal. And like I said, not everyone listed a goal. And of course, the meetings, we try to keep it anonymous, because we don't share who else is in the meetings, or even if we share who else is in the meeting, we don't share what they're writing about. We don't share what their goals are. That's their personal stuff. That's, my personal stuff. But I'm choosing to share my goals because it relates to my writing and my videos that I'm doing. And so, and then there's a part of me that feels like maybe I didn't do as good a job with these 100 days of writing as I did with my 100 days of gratitude. And part of me is like, well, maybe I should do another 100 days of writing. And then I was thinking, well, if I'm not ready to do the 100 days of writing, then I should probably not do another 100 days. And that would be kind of weird to just be like, and take 2. I don't want to do that either. I have done a video. I have done something as far as writing. And maybe I just I have 14 days to go, so I can barrel through 14 more days, maybe see how much I can get done on my books and decide what I'm going to do differently. But someone at the meeting tonight was talking about marketing, and they took a class on marketing or something, so they're going to share some information at the next meeting, which I'm looking forward to. And something they said was that they learned that you're not supposed to spend more than 15 minutes a day on marketing. And I'm like, cool, if I want to learn how to do marketing, I can spend 15 minutes a day on marketing. And I'm not entirely sure what I would do for 100 days of marketing. I do know that I was looking into doing some online marketing, which I could actually use as some form of income, as well as using it to figure out how to set up my website and things like that. I also want to figure out how to do thumbnails for my YouTube videos. Because I think by doing thumbnails, that would kind of possibly increase the number of people that watch my videos. So it might increase my subscribers and or my views for my videos, which might help get my YouTube channel monetized, which would be another form of income. Because I know I'm probably never going to make enough money just off of my books. But it would be nice to have other little bits and pieces of income coming in from other sources, so that it's not all dependent on my one job, especially when it's not always as lucrative as I would like it to be. So there is that. And I am grateful for that. I'm grateful I got to do my meeting and some of the ideas that are playing in my head, and realizing that I am working on things. And I mentioned to my friend, my motivation vision board friend, we were talking today, and she pointed out to me that I have kind of internalized my gratitude, but she noticed I keep mentioning it in my videos. Like, I'm grateful that she pointed that out, that I focus on gratitude, that has kind of been internalized over the 100 days. I don't really feel like my writing has quite been internalized as something that I get up and do and I'm excited about every single day, but still working towards it. It's something that I will continue to do, something I will continue to try to focus on, because ultimately my goal is to get my books published. So I do need to continue to write, just like I need to continue to be grateful. But it doesn't always have to be the focus of my mind. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I'm just afraid that if I don't focus on it, I feel like I'm losing it, and I don't want to lose it. But it was kind of a nice reminder that other people sometimes can see things more clearly than I can. So it's nice to get an outside perspective on viewpoint on how I'm doing, because I don't always see that. And also a nice reminder that that I'm okay where I'm at today, and that I am making progress, that I am doing things. And I do kind of do that whole back and forth thing. I am afraid of what's going to happen if I get successful, if I actually finish everything. I do hold myself back still. It's frustrating, because I have the same holding pattern that I go around in circles, and I have the same issues that I keep dealing with over and over again. And I hope they're just different layers getting deeper and deeper. And I guess I keep thinking that maybe one day I'm just going to wake up and I'm not going to have these issues anymore. I'm not going to struggle anymore. I'm just going to be happy 100% of the time, and everything is going to be perfect in my life. It's the fairy tale. It's the fantasy. And I forget that part of being human is that I'm going to have bad days, that things aren't going to work out the way that I want them to. But it doesn't mean that I'm not grateful. It doesn't mean that I'm not working. It doesn't mean that I've failed at something. And so I was just grateful for my friend to kind of point that out to me today, to remind me of these things that I already knew. And it is that reminder to myself as well, that it's like I know the process I need to go through. I get halfway through, I think, or partway through when I started, and then I kind of freak out and go back to what I'm used to. And even though I don't necessarily like what I'm used to, and I know it's not healthy for me, it's comfortable for me. And doing the new behavior is not comfortable, and it's hard to maintain the new behavior or different behavior. But there are some things that are working. There are some things that are shifting, that are changing. And some of those shifts and changes have stayed, like apparently my gratitude, because I keep commenting on that. And finding different things that I can write about or talk about. And I've learned a lot about myself. And I have put into motion a lot of things as far as my goals and my writing and working on myself and making myself accountable to other people for myself. I mean, I'm making myself accountable to myself, but I'm reporting to other people, which kind of, I think, helps me, especially like doing these videos and then being accountable to other people and saying, okay, this is what I've set up. And even though I know it's just it's not necessarily just myself I'm disappointing, because I'm disappointing other people if they're watching my videos or the people that I'm being accountable to. But it's still for me. It's stuff that I'm doing for me. I'm setting these goals, and they're just people that are supporting me, that are helping me to obtain my goals, that are saying, hey, I'm looking forward to your reading. Just like my writing group, I'm like, okay, we want to know what you're working on, what your goals are. How can we help support you in this? How can we support each other? We'll just kind of, talk to each other at each meeting and say, how are you coming on your goals? Where are you at? What are you doing? What are you working on? And so it's nice to have someone else to help go through stuff. So it's that reminder that I'm not going through it alone, and the reminder that I can do it. I mean, I showed my my list of stuff that I did yesterday to my friend today, and she was like, oh, this is totally doable. Like, all of this stuff is totally doable. And I'm like, it's not like totally unrealistic, because I'm looking at it thinking it's totally unrealistic, and she's looking at it going, no, that's doable. You can do this. So it was just kind of nice to kind of put things in perspective, to have someone else's perspective, because I make things bigger. I was going to say aggrandize things, but I don't think that's the right word for it. I don't know. But I make things bigger. I make things feel overwhelming. And I don't know that I do it intentionally. It's just, I think I've tried lots of times, and I feel like I keep failing or falling short. And so then I just kind of assume that I will, or I set these giant goals, and then somewhere in the process I get frustrated and I give up instead of pushing through to the end. So I would like to change that, so that even when I do get frustrated, because I know I will, that I just keep pushing through. And to some extent, I have done that with my writing and my gratitudes. I made my 100 days of gratitude. I have 14 days left of my 100 days of writing. And I haven't done quite as well as I was doing in the beginning, but I haven't stopped either, which I'm grateful for, and I need to remember that. It doesn't mean I have to start over. It doesn't mean that I failed. It just means, and I think I said in the beginning of this, even if I didn't finish my books or publish them, that I was still going to learn through this process. And I have learned things through this process, and I need to remember the things that I've learned, to remember the things that I've been learning about myself, and how emotional these books are, and how it is a process of letting go. And I struggle to let go. I like holding on to my safe place. I like holding on to those things because it feels like they're a part of me. And it feels like letting go might leave some kind of open hole, or like I would lose something that's precious or valuable to me. And I forget that it's like love. And the more people you love, the more you share that love with, the more room you have to love, the more people you can love, the greater love is. It's there's a reading, I think, in one of my 12-step books. I'm not going to quote it exactly, but it's talking about like God's love and how can God love all of us. And then going to the beach and having the image of like a bunch of people laying out on the beach, and there's just the one sun that's beating down, but there is enough rays of sunshine to keep everybody warm, for everyone to get a tan, for everyone to get what they need. And it's not, one person isn't going to soak it up, someone's not going to go without at the beach. And the same is true of like God and his love. We each have what we need. There's more than enough to go around for everyone. I'm not taking away from anyone else, by writing my books or publishing them. I'm not taking away from myself. There's plenty to go around, and I am loved, and there's plenty of love. And the more books that I write or that I publish, the more room I have to write the rest of my stories, to feel accomplished, to let them go, to set them free. And it doesn't mean that I'm losing them or that I'm losing myself. It means that I'm sharing them and I'm freeing myself. And I'm grateful for that understanding. And I think I've had to have that understanding multiple times, because I've probably shared the same or similar ideas multiple times. But it's still scary for me to be like, and I'm opening the door and I'm sharing and I'm being vulnerable and I'm letting everyone see me, and I'm sharing these parts of me that I've kept hidden and thought that they were embarrassing or something that I should be ashamed of. And because I was afraid of getting made fun of or being told how stupid it was. And I've been made fun of and told how stupid I was for daydreams or story ideas that I had. So it's kind of, or I've had all of my ideas twisted or changed by someone else. Like I share, like, oh, that's a good idea, let me type that up for you. And now it's, someone else's story. And I know that was never the intent. It wasn't meant to say that I wasn't good enough. That was my interpretation. And I'm grateful that through this process, I've been able to see that my interpretation and my perspective is different. And I'm grateful for my friend to point out to me that maybe part of the reason I haven't finished some of my books or my writing is because I know it's part of the healing process. And one, it means I have to feel, and two, it means I have to let it go. And maybe I'm just not ready to let some things go, or I'm still in the grieving process, something that I wish I wasn't in. And so it takes time to heal and to let go. And a lot of it just means that I have to have some extra courage to face all of these things. And the funny thing is that saying that God has given me, that I'm capable of more than I give myself credit for. And all of these videos that I've done, I have been exuding amazing amounts of courage, and I have not been giving myself credit for that. And I have been fighting healing because I just don't want to cry and deal with the emotions. And part of it's because I just don't like crying and dealing with the emotions. And part of it's just because I'm like, okay, I'm crying and I'm doing this. And I'm like, I have no idea why I'm crying. I have no idea, or I have ideas as to why I'm crying. I just don't know what to do with it. I don't know how long the process takes, because I don't know that I've ever let myself finish the process. I've started it multiple times in my life, and I get to a point where I start feeling better, and I just want to stay there. I want to stay in that spot where I feel better. I don't want to keep going through the rest of the process. And then I end up kind of going backwards or getting stuck, and then I feel like I have to start over or something. So it would be interesting to see if I could actually let myself finish the process. And I feel like doing these 100 days of videos is taking me through the process and getting me further along than I've been in a long time, or maybe further along than I've ever been in my life. It's made me much more aware of who I am and of how God sees me and what my capabilities are, and that I do have gifts, I do have talents, I do have things to share with other people. It's reminding me that I'm imperfect, that I'm human, but also that other people are too, and that I can be gentle with myself. It's teaching me that I can use different words. I don't have to be lazy. I don't have to be, I don't have to fail just because things don't work out the way that I want them to, or just because I do things differently than how I think I should do them. And I'm pretty sure it's how I think I should do them, because there's no one else coming in and telling me these are the hours of days that I need to be working, or these are the hours I need to be sleeping. These are things that I feel like I need to do for myself, not things that other people are telling me. And then I'm beating myself up because I'm not meeting those goals, and maybe they're not things I need to do, or maybe they are things that would help me feel better if I did them. Because when I do read my scriptures and meditationals to start my day, and I do my writing and my videos before I go to work, I feel better because then I'm at work and I don't have to worry about whatever. So when I come home, I can just write in my journal and I can unwind and write in my journal and go to bed. And it doesn't get me, well, it does get me in bed just a little bit earlier. And then I have a little bit more energy, and I think I do better. I'm more willing to write things when I'm awake before I go to work versus when I came home from work and I'm like, oh, I'm just done and I have so much more work I have to do. So there's a reason why I want to do it in a different order, because I think it just works better, and I think I do more. I'm more productive when I do it that way. It's just convincing myself to do it that way because I sleep so late and then I want to go to work earlier and then anyway, it's just a learning process for me, and having never been consistent in my life and having always getting halfway through the process and just giving up. So it's different trying to actually get myself to go all the way through the process. And I still have days where I'm like, I just want to give up, or I'm just like, can't do this, or I just need to start over. And I don't. It's like, when you're exercising or starting something new and you get tired and exhausted and your muscles are all sore, but you have to push through it. And eventually your body catches up and it's okay. And me, it's like I start doing all of that and I'm tired and exhausted. I'm like, I should just keep pushing through it and it'll be okay. And instead of pushing through it and seeing where it goes, I'm like, I'm going to stop now. and then it's like, okay, I stopped and now I have to start over. So maybe one of these days I will stop stopping, so I won't have to keep starting over. But one thing I can be grateful for is that for some reason I continue to try. That is something I have always done. I have continue to try it, even if I set things aside for a while, even if I feel like I failed, I just can't seem to stop or rid myself of the urge to write or to share. It's becoming a part of who I am. It's something I've always done. It's always been my outlet. It's something I need so that I can feel good and positive about myself and so that I can function. So it's not something I could ever give up permanently anyway, even if I wanted to. I've never been able to give up writing permanently in my entire life. So I may go on sabbaticals, so to speak. But that is a gift that God has given me, that I write, that I journal, and that is how I process things. And I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to share that process in these videos. And that as I write and I heal from my writing, I can share that with other people as well. And then you can hopefully at some point when they're published be able to read what I've written and maybe glean some understanding of my crazy, or maybe it will help, or maybe it's something you can relate to because you've been through similar things, and then you can see God's hand in your life, or you can see the experiences, the parallels in life, and learn something from it. Or if nothing else, maybe you can just be entertained by it, because maybe some of these videos I've done are entertaining, and some of my books that I'm writing will hopefully be entertaining. And that is the goal. I mean, they've been entertaining me for years in my head, so it's kind of nice to share them with other people. And then instead of it just being in my head, I can be excited and talk to other people. So what do you think of my little fantasy world? What do you think of this story? What do you think of that story? And it has been fun to share with friends and other people and to get feedback and to learn and to become a better writer, to become a better person. And I'm grateful for this process. I complain about it way too much. I know I do. And I fight the process way too much. And I wish I would just stop fighting the process and surrender and just be like, okay, I know God has a plan. I know this is going to work one way or the other. I just need to stop fighting it. And I have not learned how to stop doing that. I have a fighting spirit, I think. I just wish I would fight for my goals instead of against them. That would be idealistic. And maybe one of these days I will get that internally flipped around, and it will help to motivate myself to push myself forward. But as I mentioned to my friend earlier today, I have set things in motion, and it feels like whether I want to or not, it's like this big old wave or wind or whatever that's just holding me up and it's pushing me forward, and I'm like, not really sure I want to go. Okay, but I've already set everything in motion. I set everything in motion with these videos. I set everything in motion with my writing. I've started doing a grief book with my friend and just starting to just, it's a book that just talks about grief, and as you go through it, it's supposed to help you work through the grieving process. So I'm doing that. I'm signing up for a self-reliance class that's supposed to help with, through my church, that's supposed to help with the being emotionally and spiritually healthier or healthy or whatever. So sounds like it'll be an interesting class, because I'm like, I think I need that. I probably need a finance one too, but I have learned that if I'm not emotionally and spiritually healthy, then I don't take care of myself physically or mentally or anything else, or financially. And my finances become a huge mess because I stop paying attention to them because I'm not paying attention to myself. So hi. I'm very good at the whole, sometimes I feel like, I'm the dog that's all bark and no bite. I'm very good at the all talk and no action. And I am trying to learn to put into action all the things that I've been saying and talking about. And it is way harder to do than it is to say. So it's that old saying, it's easier said than done. And I can say it. I'm very good at saying it. I'm just not very good at taking my own advice and following through. But I feel like I'm getting better, and these videos have helped me to get better. So I need to continue to make these videos. I need to come up with something else, whether it be marketing or some other thing to do for 100 days, because I know that it will help me to learn more about myself, to share with other people that may be struggling with similar things, and to know that it's okay to go through those ups and downs and cycles in the process of change. It's not an overnight thing, and sometimes it's by layers. It's like, hey, I got this layer down, I'm good. Oh crap, there's another layer I gotta do. And sometimes another layer feels like starting over, or feels like maybe I didn't make any progress to begin with, when really I did. I just dug a little bit deeper. I have a little bit more to work through. And then I keep hoping someday I'll have worked through everything and then I'll be done. I think that when I'm done, that's when I'm dead. I think that's how that works. Or maybe all of this progress continues into the eternities and it doesn't ever end. There's always something new to learn and to grow and to change. But I'm learning to get a little bit better at it, I think. I hope. I don't know. But this just seems to be a month of goals and writing goals, talking about goals, figuring out what to do for the coming months or the coming years or the coming whatever. And of course, my goals have been pretty much the same, just setting deadlines that I may or may not meet, but making myself more accountable to more people and knowing that other people are making themselves accountable to me, like in my writing group, but not specifically to me, but just, as a whole to our group, they're sharing their goals. So we can all just be like, hey, how are you coming on your goals? And we can be action partners and uplift each other and encourage each other. And I think it's great to have someone else to help, to uplift and encourage. And it's nice when, the other person is asking for help too. So it's kind of a give and take. It's a back and forth. Because friendships, relationships aren't always meant to be one-sided. And sometimes you need to have something one-sided because you're going through a struggle or a hard time. And then when you're done with their struggle or hard time, then you can help someone else with theirs. And you can pay it forward, or you can pay it back to the same person that, helped you through your struggle. And so it ends up being a give and take. But sometimes one person is taking a little bit more than another person. The only time I think it becomes a toxic relationship is when one person is taking 100% all of the time and the other person is giving 100% and not getting anything in return. And then it kind of becomes toxic or abusive, and then that's not healthy if there's not some kind of a give and take. At least that's been my experience. Of course, I think I've experienced a lot more toxic relationships than healthy relationships. So I'm in the process of learning how to do that, how to listen more to other people, how to not have it be all about me, to hear what other people are saying, to see other people's sides of things. And even though it may not change my opinion, I can respect their opinion. I can understand their point of view, and I can be like, okay, I'm not going to argue. It's not something to argue about. It's just something to understand each other. And then I don't have to be on the defensive. It doesn't have to be all about me. And I feel better when I can listen to other people and I can have that connection to them or know what's going on in their lives, and it's not just me. And I never realized that I was that selfish or self-absorbed. I just was always seeing my own pain and trying to get other people to see how much I was hurting and waiting for someone to fix me. I just didn't realize I was waiting for me to fix myself. And that in the process of focusing all on me, I wasn't seeing or hearing other people's pain. And that is something that I have learned through this process. And I hope that it's making me a better person, even if I'm still struggling with the same things. But I think I'm getting to a deeper level on some of these things, and I'm learning a little bit more. I'm internalizing things, and some things I'm internalizing without realizing I'm internalizing. But I can feel the shift. I can see the change in my responses to other people, and I'm like, oh, I'm responding differently. I'm thinking differently. I'm doing differently. I don't know when that happened, but somewhere along this process it's happening. And as I've been writing my book, or as I was working on recognizing God's hand in my life, I could feel myself forgiving and letting go and realizing that I'm getting to a point in my book of things that are still fresh, that are still painful. And maybe that's why I struggled to get myself to finish, because I'm still in the process of healing from those things. And I just need to take that leap of faith and that courage to be like, okay, I can do this. I can heal from these things. I can let them go because I've held on to them long enough, and I don't need them. They don't need to be a part of me. There's so many other things that are a part of me, that are good things, that uplift me, that help me feel free and light, and like love and hope and progress and accomplishments, things that I'm doing in my life, and friendships, positive friendships, that I don't need to hold on to the hurt and the pain and all of the things that weigh me down, that hold me back. And but those things feel like they're part of me too. So it's kind of a struggle, because I'm like, I don't want to lose myself. I don't want to get lost, but I don't need them anymore. So I'm getting to go through and do an inventory of myself, basically. Not my favorite thing to do. But I always find that as I do that, the things that I think are scary don't end up being as scary or as hard as I think they are. I've just avoided them for so long. So I think that they're this horrible thing because I've avoided it for so long. And then I do it. I'm like, oh, that wasn't as hard or as bad as I thought it was. Or I feel so much better now that I did this thing. So I'm starting to see that. Still fighting it. Wish that I wasn't. But it's not as bad as I make it out to be. And the more I face things, the less scary they become. And the more I realize I don't need certain things. And maybe they had their purpose at one point in my life, but they're kind of holding me back now. And so it's just, like I said, I'm in the process. And maybe this time I will actually get through the whole process. And I'm still thinking I might do marketing in the next 14 days, or I might do something else for 14 days. I might focus on like self-care, because I need to start eating healthier, being more consistent with like exercising and walking and focusing on drinking enough water and sleeping and taking care of myself physically. So that might be something I do instead of marketing, since I don't have a book to publish to market. Or I might just stick with marketing, because that's what I've been talking about doing for so long, and maybe that will help me with the whole process. I don't know. I've got a few days to figure it out. 2 weeks, not a whole lot of time. But I will come up with something. I'm sure that God will inspire me to know what I need to do. And I think sometimes when I'm just wondering, I don't know, it's either because I need to change directions or because I'm freaking out about the changes that are coming or that might come from the next step. And I was like, I'm not sure I'm ready for the next step. I just want to stay where I'm at. And I know that God's telling me I can't just stay where I'm at. I have to keep moving forward. So I'm going to continue to move forward and work through this with God's help, with my friends' help, with my writing group and my sponsors, and everyone in my life that is loving and supporting me, and including myself. I need to be more loving and supportive of myself. So, something I need to work on. But anyway, I think I think I'm just rambling, but I am grateful for the things that I am learning, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to being done with my 100 days of writing, because I may not do writing every single day, but I know that I will continue to write when I'm done with my 100 days. Um, and I will share when I do something that has to do with my writing, I'm sure, but not gonna have to force myself to be creative every day with that. I do a little bit better with journaling. That would be something else as far as my self care goes, but we'll see. Anyway, I think that's all I have for tonight. And I hope you have, and if you like, you can hit like, subscribe, or share with someone else if you think that they will help them too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe some writing.